Good afternoon. Thank you for watching this video. First of all, we just want to talk about one or two issues that are making rounds right now at social media concerning the under 17 players that have been selected to the national team. We have heard with concern some views from some stakeholders and the other people who are part of the game, the complaints, the appreciations, and the everything. And we thought that maybe we should add our voice to this debate to just try not to shoot down anybody, not to applaud anybody, but to try and just put things into perspective, to try and clear one or two issues from the agent's point of view. So at the other sports, I'll go direct into the discussions. The story actually, for those who don't know, is that people are complaining that some of the players that have been called to the under 17 maybe are not deserving, or maybe the team selection is biased because it only shows teams that are coming from the mid-ranks, or rather teams that are coming from Lusaka only. So we have got a number of players that have come from Atletico Lusaka, from Shamuel, from other academies that are in Lusaka. And the people have complained, we have seen, they're saying, no, you can go to the villages, you can also pick players from the villages, you can go to the outskirts of this nation, Shangombo, and these are the areas, and you can find players who can kick this thing, the ball. But we just want to say that football is not for everybody. Football is a science. Kicking a ball is not a problem. Anybody who has a leg can kick this thing. But this is why there are coaches. This is why there are people who are actually trained to teach people how to kick this ball, so that we can have players end up at Brighton, like we have now Enoch Mwepu, like we have Patson Dak at Leicester, like we have Fashion Sakala at Glasgow Rangers, like we have Ivan Skangwa in Russia, like we have Green Skangwa in Russia, we have Lamek Banda in Israel. All these boys, there's a process that these boys do go through to reach that kind of level of kicking this thing and reaching those levels. Even those same guys, when they were here and playing for teams like Happy Hearts for Krings Kangwa, he will tell you that going to Europe and playing at that level is a different ballgame completely. Whereas here, he might have been a star, and we loved whatever we saw, what he was doing at Happy Hearts. But when he reached there, he confesses that actually football that side is very different. We have Patson Daka also confessing that the facilities are different. There are a lot of things that are different. What more for a boy who comes direct from the village, as you put it? Others are saying, no, there's a lot of talent out there. You can go to Shangombo and bring a player. Why are you just selecting from Lusaka? Let me say this first. The players that we go out to pick from the villages, we bring them into Lusaka. Like us at Ada Sports Management, we have boys that will not mention names here. We don't want to demean them but we have picked boys as far as the soccer. We have gone to pick boys as far as Nakonde. We have gone to pick a boy as far as Shangombo. But we'll tell you that when we bring that boy into Lusaka and we put him in a ground to play with his friend, whereas when we are getting him out of Shangombo, we are taught there and we have seen how he dribbles, how he does what and what. He's a star, a big star, a huge star in his native village. But when you bring him to Lusaka, he meets the boys here who have been through academies and things like that. You find that that boy begins to feel as if he's not even a footballer. And for us as agents, there are things that we look at when we are picking a player. There are others who have been called, come to Mwinirunga here and see there's a brilliant player. And when we have gone there, we assess and see that no, he cannot play, he's too far. So you find there's no aggression, the height is not good, the physique is not good, the ball control is poor, many other things that we look at, the weight, the what, but there are other things that you can say, okay, this player, if we have seen, he has got the speed, he has got the shot, he has got the ball control. Okay, then the rest of the things, when we bring him into Lusaka, put him at an academy, then the coaches can work on him and make him a better player. I'll tell you the truth, this is exactly what happened even to a player like Fashion. Fashion himself tells a story that when he was down in his native village, he was a champ there, but he had to move and come into Chipata and joined an academy. Then there now, there were other things that he learned to develop his career. When he stayed at that academy for a year or so, after that, that's when he also was under school, under the team school. From there, they moved with that team, went into to play the interprovincials, in which Eastern Province won. They played versus Lusaka. Now can you see? So he comes all this way. And even when they were playing versus Lusaka Province in the finals, do you know who are the other guys who were in the other team? There were people like Patson Daka on the other side of the team. So it means even him, Patson also, Lusaka, yes, but that's Kafue. He comes from Kafue. Lusaka, if you told me Chirenje, Rivala, Kawata, then you would have been saying, no, it's only the people that are coming from Lusaka. But he was also coming from Kafue. But he was brilliant at his game. He was also at an academy. Okay? So the Rukawanos were already there. They were pushing that talent. And this is how we saw these boys now come to be what they are. Otherwise, we can't be lying to one another here that you pick a boy straight from the village and you come and play in this league. It is very difficult. It is very difficult. We have seen it. We have experienced it. We have gone out there to take boys that we have been told this one is a superstar, is a good player. We have brought them into Lusaka and we put them at a team or at an academy, and you find that they are very much far. So some of them we have to start like, okay, let's put him at a Division 2 team, but we have seen the potential. From there, you upgrade to Division 1. From there, Premier. But of course, there's an advantage staying in the city. I'll tell you, there are boys like Klings Kangwa himself, Lamek Banda. They never even played some National League football or Division 1 football. These are boys who are moving like from Division 2 straight into Premier, because of course they were coming from a setup that had basics. So if you are going to take a boy from completely the village setup, you find that when he comes to join a team, he has no basics. And that is very important for the coaches. Again, the coaches that we have, you have to know that most of them, they are people who have played football at higher level. So I don't see a situation how you are going to get Coach Perry Mtapa or Coach Chipepo Mwenya and take him to go and coach a team in Kashikishi, in Shangombo. No, these are professional coaches. They know what football is, the monies that are there, the salaries they have to get paid. So you will find most of these coaches are concentrated along the line of Leo or maybe Lusaka and the Copper Belt, because this is where companies understand football. They are able to put in the resources, they are able to pay the coaches, they are able to buy the bibs, to buy the cones, to buy so many things that are needed. At the end of the day, when a Saturday comes, all we see is people kicking this ball. But in between, there's a lot of preparation that goes on. So with now the team that has been selected by FAS to represent Zambia, the under 17 team, we saw Lyson. Not that I want to defend FAS, I'm not a spokesperson for FAS, but we saw Lyson as technical director moving around this country. Okay, so they went to have boys play games all the provinces of this country, and they selected some names of those that they felt they had seen. They went with the coaches. It was not alone. There were a lot of coaches that were doing assessments or trials, and that's how come they picked those names. And out of some of those names that they picked, some of the players that were picked in Mansa, in Livingstone, in what, have been incorporated into some of the academies. Of course, by some of them by the agents. We are one of those that have done that. There are 2 or 3 players that we brought in, one from Isoka, another one from Central Province, and those boys now have come to set base at the academies here in Lusaka. This is how you see the academies have got camp houses where they camp these players, because these young boys, their parents, their homes are very far. But once they are here and they are being selected to play for the under 17, then the situation is like they are boys from Lusaka. Because obviously at this time, they only write one team and say, okay, so comes from Kafue Celtic, so comes from Shamwell, so comes from Athletico. But you do your investigations. Out of those names that you have seen there written as Athletico, how many of those boys stay here in Lusaka and have got their parents here in Lusaka? You will find that those boys have come from very far. Some of them from the very villages that you want them to come from, some of them from the Copper Belt, some of them from Livingstone. And simply what Athletic has done is to go out there, search for proper talent, for good talent, which they have put together and made that team. So that is the only thing that I wanted to voice out and maybe put clear, that even when you see the names like that, it does not mean all those boys are coming from Lusaka. And even if they came from Lusaka, if it is the best talent that we have, then it is just the best talent. Bring us that talent that you are claiming, that it is good talent, that it will compete, that it can make a grade in this team that has been selected. And definitely, as agents, as people who are in football, I'm sure there is a way that all of us together, we can push that talent. Good talent is good talent. This is why we have a boy like Fashion always telling us that he came from the village, but here he is and is doing it at a higher level, because you cannot stop good talent. It's not possible. It's not possible. When you are good, you are good. Even him complained of times that he came, he did not even train, but he was being dropped. But mental physique or mental strength in this game is also needed. This football has got a lot of frustrations. The young boys go through a lot. This is why we come in as agents to try and help psych the boys, to try and help, talk to the boys when they are low, when things are not going right for them, when they feel they are being sidelined, when they feel they are being trodden upon, so that we can motivate them, we can talk to them that it is possible, them too shall do it. And surely, we are not the only agency. There are a lot of agents in Zambia. If my record is right, there are about 34 or so agencies now in Zambia. We are growing. We are growing. We haven't come from far. In the past, we only used to have one registered agency by name Chiti Chitundu, and I started working with the Chiti Chitundu a long time ago. I'm talking something that I started doing about maybe 10 years ago. I was already in football, pushing the boys here and there. We have a lot of players in the Premier now. We have some of them that have crossed borders outside of this country. We are not alone. We are a lot of them. We are pushing. We are also growing. We are also learning. We don't claim to know everything, but we are pushing. And we thought this time we can add our voice, because we have seen like the debate is too much. Some of it is insulting to Fazi. Some of it is insulting to those that want to express their opinions. But it's all right. We just thought that we can also come in and try to set the record straight. So what we are simply saying is, for us, we believe those boys that have been selected, not all of them come from Lusaka. They only come from Lusaka by the fact that they have been moved from their respective clubs where they started football at the age of 7, 8 years, 9 years. Now they are 16, 17, and they have been brought into Lusaka, where now they are trying to upgrade their football skills and see what they can do for this country. So we have scouts all over the country, not only us. Other agents also have scouts all over the country. We sometimes use referees. We sometimes use people who like to watch football, bloggers, and all people like that. And we ask, oh, so they are in Kashkish. Which player is doing very fine than the others on this position, on that position? And we have seen such boys coming up. So we have to understand that football is a science. Football is education on its own. Football is not just about kicking this ball. There's a way to kick it for you to reach that level where you'll be called somebody, where it will begin to pay you. So there's a lot that goes into it. So we thought we should add our voice. And if at all there are any questions, also maybe we should just mention also, we had somewhere debating to say no, the 2012 team, we had a lot of them that never went through the academy, but we saw them even going to get the AFCON. Far from it, far from it. That position is not very correct. That one will argue, because we were there, we have been there, and we moved with that very team to a number of countries to watch the national team until we saw them lift the AFCON. So I will tell you that the academies have been there time immemorial. Whether they have been called young teams, for instance, there was the Red Arrows, then there was Young Arrows. That was an academy setup. There's Nkwazi, there's been Young Kwazi for many, many years. So we have Young Hana, Young Power, and many others. But for the 2012 team, I'll tell you that we saw William Jovu coming from Chipalamba Academy. We saw Fwayo was from Chipalamba Academy. These were boys who played in the 2012 team. Some of them might not have been there final at the AFCON when we won it. Roger Cora, yeah, these are some of them that never even made the cut. But these were the people that really pushed to see us qualify, to see us go to that tournament, which we finally won. Now, Hichani Monde came from Chipalamba Academy. Going to represent Zambia at the AFCON was not his first time to go on an airplane. He had gone with Chipalamba to Europe, and he had gone with the under 23 to some tournaments, and finally we saw him being the pillar of that defense at the AFCON. Who else? Mayuka was coming from a school setup in Kabwe. He was playing at an academy. I've forgotten the name of the team, but he was there at Young Warriors, something. Warriors, and he moved on. So there was a proper system where he learned the basics. In Kausu. Same. James Chamanga. Is it Makumbi Stars, a team for Mr. Smata? Academy setup and a team. He came from there. There was Idu Sport. Okay. So Stopira Nsunzu coming from an academy. He was there. Chris Katongo, Felix Katongo, in Ziti Rwansha, where they came from. They were at junior teams before they finally made it to the bigger teams, and the teams saw them and went to pick them from there, come to Buffalo, young Buffaloes, senior Buffaloes, and things moved like that. So it is not possible, that's what we are saying, to just have a player who was playing amateur football in the village and straight you draft him into the under 17. It's very difficult. So mostly we'll go out there, we'll bring these boys that we have seen, they have got the talent, and slowly until they will reach that level that they are able to play for the under 17, play for the under 20, and play for the national team. Same, even the Bola Nalesa boys. We saw them, some of them from Kafue Celtic, some of them from Bauleni United, some of them from... This is just what it is. I begin to wonder when I hear people say, no, the national team, you can select players, you can go to the village and what. We are not refusing. But once those people come into Lusaka, you will not even know that no, Solomon Sakala came from which academy. Because today all you see is he's at Zesco. But if you check his history, you will see him at Bauleni grounds until he moves up the ladder like that. That's all we are trying to put across. So please let us unite in this game of football. Talk to one another in a proper way, with a lot of respect, even as we argue. Some of you are even members of FARS, better than we are. We are very far. But we see you people who are even closer, instead of going there to ask that, oh, there is this player that you have not picked, that you have left him out. Go and ask and find out the true story. No. The best you do is lash here to Facebook, criticize, condemn, or rubbish, and say whatever you want to say. And many of the times you are caught napping, because right now there was a story of another young player that actually we also have been following very much, King Mutandwa from Atletico, that he has been left at the under 17, and there are a lot of complaints. But what the bloggers have not done is to find out what is the real age of King. Okay, if you want him to play at the under 17, how do you bring a boy who is 18 years old by registration, his NLC, at first registration, and everything is pointing to something at 18 years? The best, like for us, that we did was to call FAS and find out this boy is doing very fine. He is the best striker so far as we are concerned in this country. Of these young ones, why is he not at the under 17? And we got the answer from FAS and said, no, actually his registration is 2003 and the players we are looking for is 205 and above. And that is the only reason why he has been left. But there's a fuss around there, no, you have left him, what and what. So let's get our facts right. It's very important sometimes that we just get the facts right. Okay, so with that said, I want to thank some. With that said, I want to think some of you would have understood what is the position about some of these players that have been left, what is the position about some of the things that happen. So, like I said, we brought a boy from Shangombo, was a brilliant player, they said. When we brought him into Lusaka, Coach Patrick Piri, at that time, maybe 4 or 5 years ago, told me, yes, he can kick the ball, he can run with the ball, he can stop the ball, but he's still far. It takes a lot to reach at this stage. And we were advised he needs to start maybe at Division 2. He lacks basics, he lacks what and what. And from there, we started learning a lot of things. To say, okay. So for a player to reach this level, to be Marvin Jerry, it takes a lot. To be Emmanuel Havasimbi, it takes a lot. To be Enoch Mwepu, it takes much more. To be Fashion Sakala, it takes a lot. There's a lot that goes on into training. It's not just about kicking this thing. Everybody and anybody can kick it. This is why I even have it also, because I do go to kick it. But do I kick it in a way that I would compete? Thank you, and thank you everybody for joining us. If you have anything to say, you can drop it right here. You can attend any questions, you can drop it right here. Good day. Have a great day. Be blessed. We love you. At Other Sports, we love you very much. And thank you for listening to us.